In the end of last year I showed you around in my North American desert area in my zoo called the Drylands, and during the tour I said this: since it has been confirmed another DLC will come next year, I decided to keep a bit of free space here in case something fitting for this part of the zoo shows up. And something fitting did indeed show up. Not one species, not two, but 3 animals I now must find room for in this part of the zoo I last year dared to call almost complete. And since I've got a lot to do here now, I'm happy that Frontier let me have early access to the America's Animal Pack. So this little empty area here won't be able to contain them all, and therefore I will add the first of these 3 animals to the rocky landscape up here instead. And the animal fitting for this area is of course the Bighorn Sheep. What I had to do was mostly about adjusting all of this rock work and then figure out how I could best add a barrier to it. But first I want to expand a bit on the terrain here, so guests will be able to walk around most of the enclosure. I wanted to make this habitat stand out somehow, so along the way I decided to make a bridge-like structure for the sheep, which is why I'm now deleting some of all these rocks. This is inspired by the tunnels you often see for big cat enclosures, which I know many Planet Zoo players have also recreated over time. Here I am instead building it in an open form instead of a tunnel, as I believe the sheep would not jump down from this height. You can also compare it a bit to my goat habitat on a restaurant roof I did back when the Barnyard Animal Pack came out. Kind of the same concept, but on a smaller scale. We're maybe a bit on the edge of realism here. Stuff like these can at least be made for goats in real life, so I thought it might be doable. But no matter what, I decided to make the creative input win here, and then just try and make it appear as believable as possible. I hope you can follow this way of thinking. Overall, this added a bit of uniqueness to the enclosure, even though it did not make it easier to fence everything in. For a big part of the habitat I just used one of the basic barriers, as I think they tend to look quite fitting for the hoofstock species. I've also used this type of fence for other enclosures in this area, so it felt fitting. I'll just add some custom poles to it later in the video. For the part of the enclosure which was located against the Wild West area, I decided to use a moat as barrier instead, to create a more immersive feeling here in this more thematic part of the zoo. I have also removed all the plants from the fenced in area, as I believe the Bighorn Sheep would eat most of the things which grow here. Later in the video you'll see I add in some dry bushes instead to break up the landscape a bit. It is now time to bring in the new DLC animal, so I'll be able to see where I need to make further adjustments. I was of course also excited to see how the new model of the Bighorn Sheep has turned out. A lot of adjustments have gone into making the sheep be able to move around in all of the enclosure. So I'll not bore you with all this messing around with rocks and stones, and since we removed the plants I decided to mix in other colored stones as well, since these are also used a bit elsewhere in the zoo, so they wouldn't be totally out of place. I think it helped making this rocky landscape look less monotone. Now that we are here in the Drylands, I want to give you a little status of the zoo, as we now end up with more animals to add into this park than I expected to have at this point. The ocelot, the coyote and of course the Bighorn Sheep all makes good sense for this zoo, so I will of course make sure to add them all in, as I start to do today with the sheep. But I must admit, they're to me not particularly interesting inclusions to the game, so I'll see if I can find the motivation for all of them now. But at the moment I will rather focus on these 3 species before getting back to working on the African areas, since this North American area was already complete and I wanted to return to that state. But I think I reached the point where I need to take a break from this zoo. I might add in the coyote and the ocelot before I do so, but I have not fully decided yet. It might depend on my motivation. But I really want to try and start something completely new, as I haven't done so in ages. I'm starting to have ideas for a new park and would like to get that started. Considering the channel have also been very quiet this year, I also think it makes good sense to go with a fresh start. I still hope to finish up the Drylands someday, and I might also do videos from it from time to time, and maybe even soon with the before mentioned new species. But parts of this park I will likely finish without recording it, as it needs to be worked with in a slow pace to fix all the loose ends. it will not be something I can get very good videos out of. But when or if I finish up this zoo, there will of course be a tour of it up on the channel. But it might not happen soon. I think I'll instead soon switch my focus to a new project, and I really hope that will catch your interest as well. And if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss out on it. To give the Bighorn Sheep a shelter, I copied a part of my donkey stable. This also helped to tie this enclosure a bit more into the western theme of this part of the zoo. In the end, I did not find use of any of the new pieces from the America's Animal Pack for this build, even though there are some quite nice pieces in there, but also a lot of more thematic stuff. But because most of this habitat just consisted of natural elements and a lot of it was built already, it just didn't really make much sense for me to try and fit in those pieces. And we sadly didn't get any new plants this time. Now it's just about finishing everything up, and you might end up noticing some new details as well. And then we can take a look at how it all turned out. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you will have fun with the America's Animal Pack.